all out in the open. Um, Thanks for being here, everybody. My name is Nicole Lee. I'm your alderman here in the 11th Ward. It's about 6:30 on Thursday, January 23rd. We're here this evening to talk about a proposal for a map amendment for zoning on Archer and Canal. This is a recommendation, a proposal to create some conformity in the area, which in some cases will down zone from a commercial district down to a B2-5 for the addresses between 2323 to 2325 South Archer and 2310 to 2326 South Canal Street. I don't really have a formal presentation. This really is meant to be, more Q&A. I will give you some context around map amendments that I've done across the ward since I've been in office. I haven't done very many of them. Most of what I've done has been upzoning because there are certain places in the ward that have been downzoned to residential when the properties clearly are meant for businesses. As an example, the first map amendment that one of the first ones that I did was right down the street north of here on Halsted, across the street from the Ramova. From 35th to basically 35th Place, the buildings on the east side of the street had been downzoned from, they were all commercial at some point, to single family residential. Very, very limiting to the property owners. Like if they were already operating a business in there, they were grandfathered in, they could still continue to operate their business. But let's say they wanted to stop running their beauty salon and they wanted to rent it out to a doctor's office. With an RS3, they weren't able to even consider renting out to a new tenant because they wouldn't be able to get the proper business licenses. So while they were more interested, I think, in regaining what they had lost in terms of the C zoning, I have not done upzoning to C zoning from a map amendment perspective, because at the C zoning level, that allows for C being commercial, allows for liquor and cannabis as of right, which means you wouldn't even have to come talk to me about it if you wanted to open a bar in your space if it's got a C zone. So I live in this area. I live in 24th Place, just on the other side of the viaduct. Have lived there for a long time, so I'm very familiar with the area. And I know that, I've been watching things sort of develop in and around the neighborhood over the years, and looking at it from a zoning map perspective, there's primarily Cs or Ms, commercial or manufacturing. And there's very little manufacturing going on. I mean, I think they still make fortune cookies at Golden Dragon. That would be the only one, and I'm not going to touch that because that's actually what they're doing over there. But I am looking to I'm looking to curb the availability of people to open more massage parlors. I mean, I'm going to be really honest. That is one of the things that I'm from a ward-wide perspective. We have way too many in the ward currently, and we have some that are giving bad reputations to the good operators, basically. If you're in the area at all, you know that a couple of those places have been closed down. There's also, karaoke bar, like Bar Zero,
Yep,
over
right
there.
across from me.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. That's where you are. Okay, got it. And then there's the theme house down there, and then there's this LFK grill. And I'm trying to get a better handle on like what bubbles up and what pops up and what types of businesses we want to have in the area. Um, there is the condo building that is on Canal Street, just as you're going south on Canal Street, on the west side of the street, just before you get to like Appleville. There's a newer condo building there. And this is sort of what prompted me to look at this corridor with a more critical eye. There was an application for a shared kitchen space. I looked at the address. I was like, that's a condo building, but it was zoned C23. And I was like, there's no way that this should be zoned as commercial. So I think whatever the property was previously was something that was legitimately commercial. I know the zoning was never changed, just and maybe no one was paying attention to it, but it didn't make sense for there to be like a commercial kitchen on the third floor condo of this building. It's a residential building. So looking at that, what I attempt to do and what I venture to do when I do map amendments like this is to create conformity for the area. So if it's mixed commercial and manufacturing, but what we really want is like just businesses there, doctors' offices, estheticians, I don't know, coffee shops. On Canal Street is a little bit different because it is such a busy thoroughfare, but we've got, the bigger buildings now with the condo buildings, and then along Archer and Canal, we've got commercial on the bottom and then residential on top. And when we have, massage establishments that are right next door to each other, I don't think that, I cannot make amendments to zoning changes to get in the way of business competition. That's not why I'm doing this at all. But it also begs the question of just, the makeup of the area. And right now we have the Moon Spa that's been here for how many years? 20 years? Yeah, almost 20 years. Not thinking of you as much as I'm thinking of some other folks in the area, but a new place just opened up right next door to you in the same building. Then there's the spa that's by the Zero Karaoke Bar. Then there's that Earth Spa that's right down there as well. So in a 2-block radius, we have 4 massage establishments. It is the driver, and I'm like being totally transparent about why I'm looking to downzone like this, because if B2 dash anything, the last number indicates bulk size. So in your buildings, 5 is because the buildings are so tall and they've got condos and stuff on top. But 2 is the designation that limits a little bit more of the business uses. Now, for those of you that are currently operating businesses, whatever it is you're operating, as long as you continue to, you're grandfathered in, it would just be a non-conforming use. It wouldn't stop you from renewing your business license, or if you wanted to sell your business to somebody else to do the exact same thing, and it was contiguous, like you never stopped operating, they've purchased your business, they can continue without having to get a zoning change in order to facilitate their business license. I think
18 months after you see.
Or yeah, so it's like if you closed for, within an 18-month period.
I'm aware of the non-conforming use.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I owe 446 and 450 on 23rd place. Right, that building. My property has been vacant for a year and a half. Just leased to another foot massage parlor. So there is 2 sides of the coin. We talked about it. I understand too many competition, massage places, but I feel that we shouldn't be penalized for what others are doing, because our business are very legitimate, and I vet my tenants rigorously. So since COVID, it's been hard. It's been hard as a commercial landlord to lease our properties already as it is with the current zoning. With this new zoning to B2, even more limited, not just massage parlors, but I've gone through the list of all the other commercial type of business I cannot do. It's very limited. That has a very good, big bottom effect to what I'm doing here. So I really oppose this because of that reason. Now I understand what you're saying, that some of those are being abused. Your commercial C1 is being abused. I don't know what to say about that, but I don't feel that I should be penalized for that.
So no, I see what you're saying, and because you still have one vacant property. You have two, you've invested in 2 units over here. Yeah. And have you had, because you're
446 and 450.
So you're in a C zone currently.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this change definitely directly impacts my business. So I signed 1 tenant already. So I'm assuming they'll be grandfathered in. Like you said, if something happens and we don't have this lease anymore, another business with a new name, a new leasee would not have this benefit. And I have this happen before. It's a very big uphill battle, and it's not worth it.
Understood. Well, and like I said, we have these meetings so that we can, because I want to hear from everybody. It might,
Try to do good for the
Yeah, and I'm supportive of business. Like I want there to be business, and I think, you know, where I'm coming from is just seeing some of what's going on. And look, both you and Candace, I know you operate like perfectly legitimate businesses, and you know, I'm not trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I am trying to get a little bit more control over things because not everybody will come. This essentially forces people to come in, right? And I definitely don't want, you know, I don't want liquor or cannabis. I mean, there's enough.
That's something I would
Yeah.
like to, yeah, I know, understand that that's on the list. I'm going to the list and.
Mhm.
Yeah, so just for example, you know, if somebody were to open like a kennel, they won't work. Veterinarian, that won't work. Tattoo parlor, no. So it goes down a list. It's like 4 pages, and half of it is, you know, it's slashed out
Yeah.
because of this.
Yeah. Well, and I also know, look,
So that
if at some
very
point,
limits to what who I can.
yeah. I want to say you currently have C now and you're still having trouble renting it out. So I mean, has
Imagine
that has,
imagine my prospective receipt. That's what I'm looking, if this would go. That's a good problem.
yeah, in terms of your options, for
Mhm.
sure. Um, I acknowledge that completely. I'm not trying to tell you that that's not actually the case. I'm trying to look at it from the other perspective of a lot of these things are also market driven, right? So how long has your place been vacant? The other unit that you have right now? Almost 2 years. Um, and with the C zoning. So I mean, like you've had the options, you haven't been able to get people in there. Um, and if at some point you decide to sell it, you know,
Yeah. And it's gonna be less valuable because of the zoning change.
Mr. I would say not necessarily. I think the way that we've mapped out massage parlors in the ward, they tend to cluster together because some businesses have this notion about massage parlors being a certain sort, and so they are more unlikely to choose this location for their business because they have all these associations. So actually rezoning it and changing the uses, making it more professional and
might
neighborhood
actually
driven
attract, make the
yeah.
area more attractive for other businesses. Because if we
So
had,
that's, I
if we
mean,
had
I
more,
see your point, you know.
yeah. So that's just the other side of
I
the
hear you.
argument, right? So
Mhm.
I'd like to see less old looking, like, you know, garage looking buildings along Canal Street and in that general vicinity. You know, I know there's a restaurant supply store over there as well, right? So and it gets messy over there. I'm not gonna lie to you, when I drive down that street, I'm kind of grossed out by like kind of what's produced over there. And I don't particularly like the look of it. And there's residential homes right across the street. That's a block away from you, I know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that area is residential, right?
Yeah.
Most of the upper block.
Yeah. Well, and I'm concerned with the people that are living in these residential areas too. And again, I'm on the other side of the viaduct from it, but it's my neighborhood, right?
Mhm.
So it matters to me what's over here as well. And again, I don't take lightly the impact that this has, and it absolutely has an impact on, especially for you all that own commercial spaces in these buildings. Again, I'm never trying to hurt people in that way, but part of this is also speculation about like what tenants you potentially may or may not have. I'm saying you've had for 2 years now an empty space, and if we could do something to create different interest in the area, that might actually be more helpful, even though it's reducing the number of options ultimately that you have in terms of just classifications of, you know, the types of businesses that you could open. And we, you know, we're going with the B2 because at the B3, that is, you know, that's where the massage places come in. And that is, again, it's a high priority for me in terms of just making sure that we don't continue to be oversaturated. There, at last count, before the new place, before your new tenant just moved in. And I actually talked to her and she said, we don't actually do massage in here. It's more like aesthetics
Facial.
with like facials and stuff. I wish it was a different name because now it just looks like there's yet another massage place along
Yeah.
Canal Street. A little too late for that at this
Yeah.
point. But there are probably close to 30 at this point. In a very small concentrated area along Archer and Chinatown, like in a small radius. And you know, it doesn't do the legitimate businesses any favors when the other people are, you know, trafficking human beings and running these very tawdry places. And, you know, it doesn't look good for us to have big yellow stickers on things too. I mean, we had one on Halsted, right at 26th Street by Taipei Cafe. Something got shut down earlier in the year. And it was a massage establishment that, you know, I don't have all of the details, but when there's a big yellow sticker on, you've done something very wrong. And that doesn't look good in the community either. But I understand what you're saying in terms of just what your biggest concern is, just the loss of potential value and potential tenants down the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two biggest things, right? Like I have less options to rent to others. I just rented, right?
Mhm.
We're starting to get back into things, right? Yeah, during COVID, nothing, right? So we're just starting to pick up now, and this comes along. Now, I understand you're saying, okay, 30, I wasn't aware it's 30 plus massage.
That's just what I could find on Google.
So, I don't know what to say about that, but compare that to the number of restaurants in Chinatown, that pales in comparison, right? They're clustering in certain areas.
To be fair, John,
Yeah.
restaurants clustered here, that's what we're known for, right? The
Yes,
people come here for
that's
that culture. I don't want for our community to be known as a place where you come to get massages and like of any of the ilk that we are already sort of known for.
I think we're
So I
hung
think
up on massage. Well, the whole reason you're doing this is because
it's
of.
counting that. Yes, it
it's counting
100% is.
massage
And
parlor.
and I
But
would,
that's not the only thing that's getting restricted.
because I don't have a way
Yeah.
to just restrict that. There's not one of the only tools that I have as the alderperson here is some relative control over what happens from a zoning perspective. I don't do that without consideration. We're sitting here having a meeting about it right now. I don't know that my predecessors did that. So I'm telling you that I'm committed to making sure that we're making the best decisions for the entire community. And also looking at weighing the impact on individual businesses like yours.
Mm.
You know, I'm gonna take to consideration, no decisions are gonna be made about this today. So let me just say that at the top, like this is meant to be a Q&A session. I want to hear people's concerns. I've had several conversations with Candace at this point. I've talked to Sharon Wong, who also has, you know, a Century 21 office over there. So I'm happy to talk to as many people as possible about what their concerns are so that I can figure out how to come up with the best compromise at the end of the day. But my tools are limited in terms of my ability to curb the one big issue that I'm very concerned about.
Gotcha.
Right. I mean, this is about quality of life for residents. And you as an investor, you matter. You absolutely do. Do you live in the area?
Yeah, I am in Bridgeport.
Okay. Okay,
So
great.
I'm close by.
And I'm glad that you are, because sometimes people who invest in the community here, they don't live in the community, so they don't see kind of the impact of that too. You know, before the theme house was there, down on 24th Place as you're going toward Archer, there was another karaoke bar there that caused a lot of problems to the community. That was before my time. But I, as a resident, you know, coming home, you know, from a night out and then seeing what's going on there was shooting over there. So I'm trying to make sure that, you know, we have good quality of life for all the residents too. So I'm weighing a lot of different things. So, you know, being honest with you now, again, I'm not making any decisions today. I want to hear what people's concerns are, and I'm going to take that back and I'm going to figure out if there's a better compromise. But I am the alderperson for the entire 11th ward, and I'm trying to make the best decisions for the community as a whole. Understanding that there is impact to every single decision that I make here.
Understood.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel that you're casting a wider net, that what I feel is fair for everybody, so I seriously urge you to consider this change.
And that's what I'm doing. I mean, that's, again, I've done map amendments where not one person has called in about, you know, a concern about it after all the
I'm
notifications.
surprised not many people show up, 'cause
What's cool, and like I said,
you know, landlords around the area that I talked to, and they said they're gonna come.
look, so this isn't the only opportunity.
And please bring some of
Yeah.
these.
Yeah, I can give you some of these.
We won't act.
Yeah,
we
I
won't
got
act-
one already, I'll send it to them.
Yeah. This is recorded. We'll publish this on our YouTube channel. Like this, I'm very committed to transparency. I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. This is actually the first zoning map amendment that I'm proposing. Most of what I've been doing is upzoning to try to correct some things that happened in the past. I think, at a different time, if it was a different alderperson here, they may have just downzoned everything to RS3 and called it a day and not batted an eye about it. I have colleagues that do that too. I'm looking for guardrails, about, still wanting to encourage businesses to come into the neighborhood, but not allowing so much leeway that for the things that I'm most concerned about, people would still have to come and talk to me about. So that's what I'm trying to create ultimately, is just a better balance of this, and reduce the risk of more. Not every landlord's like you either, John. So if I can be honest, I think there are property owners in the community that are more interested in, making sure that they're just collecting rent and not paying attention to who they're renting to, whether that's residential or commercial at the end of the day.
There's all shifts and forms.
Yeah, I mean, we're a community, and we want to make sure that we've got community standards as well. I'm also interested in hearing from residents as well. I have had some feedback, about people that are glad to see some of these potential changes. So I'm weighing all of those things. I know, I've heard the most from property owners concerned about this exact thing that you're raising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Restaurants is also on the chopping blocks with this zoning too. That's what it looks like here.
And we can reevaluate that
Yeah.
too. If that's considered
This
desirable.
B2 doesn't even, you can't even do a special user approval. There's no
Okay.
restaurants, period.
I mean, the idea that
Thanks.
about the B2 is that it has a lot more professional services that cater to the neighborhood. For me, it's like that you have the widest variety of options for commercial use, and it's taken 2 years in a area of town that is actually one of the areas that are growing in the city.
And very
It's
dense.
concerning. It's
Yeah.
dense because it has the
I'm not
population to
surprised.
support
I
it.
mean, it's not just the area. I mean, it's the whole overall commercial landscape, right? Look at downtown. Look at where we are in downtown with all the vacant
Downtown
space.
is deteriorating.
Yeah.
Chinatown is
Yeah.
not.
So Chinatown, there's a lot of tourists. I mean, it's booming in Chinatown Square and Chinatown. Yes, that is true. That's one of the few bright spots in the city right now. Again, downtown right now is, people are carrying back up to left and right. Buildings are selling.
Yeah. People are turning back keys. Yeah.
So I am not surprised that some of our properties are not leasing out, and we just started to warm up and get back in the groove of things. So yeah, to say that, hey, I haven't rented out in 2 years, don't expect it to get any better. I don't feel that.
I'm not saying
No,
don't
no,
expect it to get any better. I'm saying you've had the opportunity. Yeah. Yeah.
Zoning and change zoning. I want this option, right? At least the option to rent to a more diverse type of VC.
You're looking for more options than
Yeah.
what's being
Yeah.
offered right now.
So massage parlors, so you're casting a wide net for massage parlors, and it includes everything else. So look, everything I highlighted here is excluded.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
There's 4
Yeah.
pages of this, and I'm looking at this, and it's shocking that how much is being excluded today. So anybody who comes in and wants to do that kind of business, I will not have the ability to help them, or I have to jump to a lot more hoops in order to do it. So that is my main concern. So I hope you can say it.
Yeah,
Point is well taken,
absolutely.
yeah.
will. Yeah, the point's absolutely well taken, and it's shared by others as well. It very much is a similar concern to what I've talked to others about. We try to answer as many questions we can about, like, if you're an existing business and how you can pass that along, grandfathers people in, but in your case, because you have a vacancy right now, this absolutely has a different kind of impact on you.
Are you holding any more discussions on this besides this one?
I can, yeah. This is not something that I'm trying to rush to do. Like, this is why, when I heard from, and Candace was the one that reached out, so you can thank Candace that this didn't go forward. I'm happy to hit the pause button. That's what we've done. I mean,
Yeah,
this
I
was.
got this.
Today, just a few of us here.
Mhm.
When I got the first letter for the public hearing, it's less than 2 weeks. if I didn't check the mailbox, if there's a possibility, you just like post this.
Yeah,
post on
yeah,
here,
well, and there's a
nobody
public,
knows.
there's a public notice too, they're posted on telephone poles, like the,
That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
oh no, it is, they're still up. If you look, I drive by it every day. They're out there on the telephone poles. I understand that, Candace. We're sitting here now, though. I'm telling you, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, if you hadn't have come, if I didn't hear from community members, it probably would have gone forward. Yeah, it would have. I mean, like, I'm being, as you all get to know me, I'm not gonna try to sell you a line on everything. I mean, the minute we talked in our first conversation, I said to you, I'm happy to put a pause button on this so that we can have the conversation. I don't want anybody to not understand kind of what's going on. So again,
December 9, that.
we pulled it.
Did
It got
that
deferred.
happen?
It did not
No, I
happen.
know that didn't.
Yeah, no, it did not happen.
Nothing's happened.
Nothing, literally nothing has happened. Yeah,
Proposed.
Mhm.
But they're not here. So you can, I like to have another crack at.
Yeah.
getting
No,
those-
I'm happy
those
to.
people in
Then
here
we
and
had
then
a,
voice their opinion. You do it.
yeah, I'm not gonna do it indefinitely, John, and in deference to your neighbors who you know. I'm more than happy to have a subsequent meeting, because what I want to do is take just from the people that I've heard from today, go back and see if there's anything else I can do working with the zoning department to address more surgically, if you will, my biggest concern, with just I'm concerned with the vice type things in our neighborhood, right? I'm not,
And rightly so.
yeah. And that's certainly not where that doesn't help your value at the end of the day, if we have a bunch of seedy things in the area, right? So I'm trying to balance all of that.
Even if it's just the perception, right?
Yeah. And trust me, with that one place, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it already feels seedy. So I'm happy to have a follow-up conversation. Like I said, this recording will be posted. And it, again, for all to see, anybody that is interested in hearing that, and we're gonna have a follow-up meeting so I can come back to you with what I can hopefully do in terms of a compromise, to try to satisfy and thread this needle of balancing, property owners like yourself versus, the more sort of community well-being, quality of life issues that I'm trying to address, with using zoning as a tool. So we'll have a subsequent meeting. There will be an opportunity for others, and, I'm happy to meet with people individually too. It's a little bit more effective if I can get people in a group, just because it's time consuming otherwise. Overly time consuming. I don't want it to, it's my life having meetings with this job. But I'm happy to have another meeting so that more people can voice their opinions about it. I'd love to get a few more community members in here too, just people who live residentially who can offer some just thoughts on that as well. But no decisions are gonna be made on this. You will get notification from me about ultimately, what decision I move forward with or what I don't move forward with. I'll make sure that everybody knows before any action is taken. So currently, the proposal that we put forward that you got notifications for, it's been deferred. They're gonna hold it until I tell them what to do with it. So that might be an amendment, that might be I don't know, like, so I'm not committing to anything other than to continue to have the conversation right now. But now you understand a little bit more about where I'm coming from in terms of the quality of life issues I'm trying to really improve upon for the residents in the area. And selfishly, I'm one of them. Like, I'm full disclosure, I live in the area. Enough people know where I live and they're knock on my door if something's going wrong. So where we can make some improvements, I'm definitely looking to do that. And I think that long term, that improves everybody's value in the area, whether you're a commercial property owner or residential.
But we understand that, people are still recovering from the pandemic, and that's a very real thing. The pressures of, needing to find immediate income. So I would say let's go back to
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back to I'll go back to the zoning administrator, have some more conversations with him about some of the feedback that we've gotten and see if there's anything else that we can do to address this in a different way. That has
And
less,
we'll pass this on to
yeah.
someone.
yeah, yeah,
We'll see what we can do to preserve options,
Yeah.
but also, raise the value, because we don't want you to have more competition, have more this trouble, because there is that that population density in that area to be able to make this a thriving area, but it's just not happening right now, and that's confusing. And we'd like to inject some urgency into people, but okay.
Yep. Any questions online? I don't see any. Okay, so yeah, we'll follow up with zoning. We have all your contact information. We'll reach back out. We'll post information about the next meeting. We do it in our newsletter. We'll make sure we reach out to you to let you know, and then you can share with your neighbors as well. But we won't be doing a mailing like the Department of Zoning does that when a change is proposed. That's why you got all the notifications.
Yeah.
And I do hope you see the public notices, because not only do the letters go out, that they're required to post it publicly. Yeah. Okay, and then if you don't, and if it's okay with you, we'll add you to our newsletter list so that you get that as well. We advertise this in the newsletter. We've got residents from all different parts of the wards that come to these types of meetings just to understand kind of what's happening across the ward, whether you live like right next door,
Yeah, by all
you
means.
know, miles away. All right. Did you have a question? No. Okay. Okay, well, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate you coming out on a cold night. We're gonna continue the conversation. No action's gonna be taken towards formally. Yeah.
We just want to changing the zoning style, some people cannot license. So for us,
Yeah, so if you're already running that business and someone else wants to come in and buy it, there is a way for you to transfer the license, and that they would not be affected by this. It's the same sort of grandfather rule. So that's what you have in writing now. And Candace, we discussed that last time. Yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah, that is not ideal. The
No.
way that works,
the 18
I
months
can't do that.
like for this year, but you never know in the future. But in the B, that's the foundation. Oh, that's issues and that's the well.
So it's have a different business here for 1 year. I cannot go back to the type of business
Yep, understood.
it's very limited.
We'll
Okay.
reach out.
May I ask the zoning for the Canal Plaza? Is.
Across Canal Street?
Yeah.
Do you want to look that up?
Yeah.
That'd be the,
Cause they have a lot of.
They actually have
space.
seats, there's restaurants in there.
Is-
Thinking out loud.
we'll confirm for you. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, so we're gonna look at the zoning map.
Oh, it's a PMD.
Oh, it's a planned manufacturing district. So it's within the PMD. They have different zoning requirements over there. And actually, I have no control over a PMD. That is something that is done at the citywide level. So aldermanic prerogative over zoning is only for residential, commercial, and business and manufacturing. So R, B, C, and M. So for example, the meeting that happened right before you guys came in was for, I'm proposing a map amendment for this stretch of Halsted from 35th place to 37th. We have a mix of 3 different zonings here. We have manufacturing, we have business at a low level, B1-1, and multifamily residential. And I know that the community around here wouldn't necessarily be interested in more manufacturing moving in. A lot of this is residential now. But we're also trying to encourage more business development in this corridor, especially with the big investment with the Remova Theater. As I told you, those buildings across the street from the Remova were zoned single-family residential. So we're expanding the business district, so it's got more options.
Yeah, Halsted has no problems now.
Oh, we still do.
It's a lot of empty
It's starting to turn around, which is what we want.
Yeah.
So we're trying to set up those opportunities for
I've been
them
in
to.
Ziegler for 30 plus years. Yeah, Halsted has not has any revitalization efforts, or none has worked until the past like 5 years.
We're hoping to keep
Yeah.
that going. I mean, we've
Yeah,
had
there's a
lots of new
momentum there
businesses.
that I don't think it's.
I really think there could be momentum at Asha and Canal. There's so much traffic. There's so much, like the car traffic, like it doesn't.
You just need that sparse.
Yep,
We'll work on it.
yep.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you. I'm gonna end the Zoom now. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.